up, guys? Thanks so much for clicking on the video. My name is Leah, and baby, can we have a little chitty chat? Can we have a little chitty chat? We have to talk about 1,000-pound sisters. We have to talk about that because I caught up on this new season, which is season 5. I think TLC was having like a mini marathon because I ended up watching like 2 episodes on Friday, and then yesterday, which was Saturday, they played like the rest of the episodes, and the episodes that I did not see, I went and watched them on demand. So I'm all caught up for this season. And what is wrong with Amy? Okay, we got to talk about it. So let's get into it. So like I said, what is going on with Amy? What is going on with Amy? But before we talk about what happened on the latest episode, which is episode 8 of season 5, let me just give you a summary of what 1,000-Pound Sisters is. So it was a series that premiered on TLC, and it's still on TLC, back in 2020. And it was about 2 sisters, Amy and Tammy Slaton. A lot of people were confused as to why TLC was giving them a show. But when you do more research, you find out that they both have a pretty decent following, separate of each other and together on YouTube. Amy has almost 400k subscribers and Tammy almost has 200k subscribers. On top of that, there's a lot of channels, drama channels, and just channels in general that cover them. So they have a lot of buzz on that side of YouTube. So it only would make sense for TLC to give them a show because they give a show on YouTube. You can see them having a lot of infighting with each other as well as fighting with other people outside of the show. So at the beginning of the series, they both weighed 1,000 pounds collectively together. Now on season 5, you can definitely tell that they both have lost a decent amount of weight. And the show is just documenting their lives as they try their best to lose weight and get to a healthy weight that they feel the most comfortable as. I think around season, I want to say 3, or possibly by the end of season 2, but I think it's season 3, we got introduced to their brother, Chris. And then by the end of season 3 or the beginning of season 4, we ended up meeting Misty and Amanda, which are their sisters. Now, while I was trying to get pictures for this, I don't know, I fell down the rabbit hole of people trying to understand their family tree. So I don't know how true this is. So I'll put allegedly on the screen because I don't know. It's a rumor. At this point, it's a rumor because ain't nobody came out and confirmed it. But it seems like Amy, Tammy, Chris, and Misty all have the same mom. But Amy and Tammy have the same dad. Chris and Misty have the same dad. And then Amanda has the same dad as Chris and Misty, but a different mom. That's the same statement I saw over and over on the different articles that I was like looking at, that people were like trying to understand their family tree. So again, I'll explain. It says Amy and Tammy, it seems, have the same mom and same dad. Chris and Misty have the same mom as Amy and Tammy, but a different dad. And then Amanda seems to have the same dad as Chris and Misty, but a different mom. I don't know how true that is, but I saw 2 articles that said it. So we'll just put allegedly because nobody on the cast has came out and confirmed it. So we got introduced to their siblings, and it seems like Amanda is the oldest sister and Chris is the only boy. So they're a lot more vocal when it comes to them speaking about the things that they see Tammy and Amy do, as well as being more action. They'll take action with their little sisters, whereas Misty gives very much middle child like energy. She's more observant. She'll say something when things need to be said, but more than likely she is making a slick joke or just looking at everything going on. And if she don't want to be there, she out. Okay, she is all the way out. So this season, we seeing Amy go through it. Okay, like she tripping. She is going through it. Now, Tammy, before we get into the Amy of it all. So, Tammy, we see during season 4, Miss Tammy, we thought was going on to glory, if we gonna be all the way 100. Tammy had gotten admitted to the hospital. They placed a trach in that lady's throat because she could not breathe on her own and she was struggling. But by the middle of season 4, she had gotten out of the hospital. They placed her into a rehab center and she was doing a lot better. She actually ends up meeting this guy named Caleb. Now, before I speak about Caleb, I just want to give my condolences to Tammy and her family and Caleb's family. Unfortunately, during the filming of season 5, Caleb actually passed away, and we see next episode, which is episode 9, they're going to hold a memorial service for him, and it seems to be something, well, I mean, not seems like it's hard, like, it seemed to be unexpected. Like, nobody knows what he passed away from. I actually Googled and looked at several articles and it all say unknown cause of death. Now, if I'm gonna be honest, I low-key think like he died of heart failure because that man was too big. Like, we're gonna have to call a spade, and he was on a trach as well. So, like I said, Caleb and Tammy end up meeting, but they also ended up getting married during season 4. And unfortunately, again, he passed away during season 5. So when we are in season 5, we see that Caleb isn't really doing what he needs to do in order to leave the clinic. Tammy actually has left the clinic. She's doing a lot better. They removed the trach, and her goal ultimately is for Caleb to come home so they can live married life together. She ends up going to visit him, and he got Popeye. That was a Popeyes box. I really do feel like that. They blurred it out, but I was like, that box is orange and white. The only fast food company I know that like that is Popeyes. So and the box was like that's a Popeyes box. So pretty much he had a Popeyes box in his room, and she was like, what is that? And he tried to joke it off. Then when she was going around his room, she ends up finding like cookies and cakes and like chips, and she was like, dude, come on. And he tried to be like, well, I've been emotionally eating since you left. And I was like, okay. So then they end up having like this romantic dinner that Caleb hosts for her, but the food that he has for her is like all fried food, and she doesn't eat it. Tammy's like, come on, like, and he ends up being like, oh, my bad. So honestly, it did not seem like Caleb was that motivated to leave the clinic. And I didn't like how he tried to like make it an issue, like a Tammy thing, like, oh, it's because you left. And it's like, okay, well, in order to be with her, you have to lose weight so you can get the weight loss surgery so you can start living the married life with her. And I think it would have been great to watch them move in together and have a family or create their own family and go through life together and show that like you can triumph over food addiction, because we can't act like food addiction isn't real when there's been so many studies that say like when you eat food, it kind of mimics the same gratification that you get out of some people that do drugs and like specific drugs. Like they've taken like pictures of people's brains who have done drugs and given them the drug, or like and you see the part of the brain that gets that starts to fire off, and then you eat something you really like and it does the same thing. So we know food addiction is real. I was just hoping that he was able to beat it. I just did not like how he tried to blame Tammy or try to use Tammy as an excuse as to why he continued to eat so badly. And I guess for me, as someone who is fat and like working on trying to lose weight and stuff, I don't know, like I know emotional eating is real because I do it as well, but it's just like to me, rock bottom is when someone has to put a trach in your throat. Like when I can't breathe on my own, like, and they have to surgically put something in my throat so I can breathe. No, ma'am. Like versus like, I know some people have to do the little tubes and that's different because I can take that off and still, you can still breathe by yourself. But no, I was just like, dude, like it's time for you to like wake up. But yeah, like unfortunately he passed away, and I hope Tammy's doing better because it happened unexpectedly, and that sucks for you to imagine a life with someone and then they're gone. And now you have to imagine your life without them. And that can be really hard. And grief is a mother, you know what? So I really do hope she's okay. Let's talk about why I really wanted to talk to y'all with this video. Amy, what is up with her? What is up with her, y'all? So what really made me want to do this video is I was on Instagram, and a Instagram page that I follow called OMFG Reality TV. I love their page. They always post like clips of the shows that I review, and they post like the best parts of the like reality TV shows that I like. And so it was the scene of Amy and Amanda like getting physical with each other, because it really wasn't a fight, it was more so a shoving match, but still they were shoving each other really hard on their family vacation in Florida. And I was so like, oh my god, they really like put hands on each other, because when I saw the actual promotion for the episode on TLC, it didn't look like they had put hands on each other. It just looked like they were arguing, like, you know, just in each other's like face, arguing back and forth, but not really making physical contact. So when I saw it, I said, not them fighting in the Airbnb. So they're arguing in the air, like so that's what happened. So then it was like, okay, girl, I got to go back and watch these episodes, because I need to understand the build up and how we got here. So pretty much the cracks have been shown in Amy and her husband Michael's relationship. So when the series first premiered in 2020, season 1, we found out that Amy was married to Michael. Amy's main goal for losing weight is that she wanted to have kids, but her weight was a hindrance for her to have kids. So she was like, I gotta lose weight so I can have kids, because I'm reaching that point in my life where I probably won't be able to have kids, or it'll be way more harder for me to have kids the older I get. So her and her, like, you know, she was able to have kids. She ended up losing the weight, and they had their first child. Her and Michael had their first child in 2020. That child's name is Gage. Then in 2022, she got pregnant, or maybe 2021, and then either way, she had her second child in 2022, and that baby's name is Glenn. So everybody, a lot of the fans and just me as a casual viewer of the show, was really happy for her, because I was like, okay, yo, you wanted to lose weight. Your main goal was to lose weight so you can have kids, and you were able to do that. So like, congratulations to you. And even with them having their first child, which is Gage, I kind of was like, y'all need to be taking parenting classes, because, and this is coming from someone who doesn't have kids, but I have a lot of family members that do have kids. It was just like the way Amy and Michael were engaging with their child, I was just like, it's giving two teens that have never had a, like, you know, teenage pregnancy type energy. That's what it was giving to me. And I was like, you guys are in like your 30s and 40s, like so Amy and Michael are 5 years apart. So around the time they had kids, Amy was probably in like her late 20s or her early 30s, and Michael was like in his mid 30s. So I'm just kind of like, this is not giving like adult pregnancy, it's giving teen pregnancy. I mean, that's what it was giving. Like, they didn't even like child-proof their house, which I was just kind of like, I've always been taught that's the first thing you do before you even have the baby, so you don't have to do it once you have the baby. But it was a lot going on for them. So they ended up having the second baby, and that is when we started to really see the cracks in their marriage, because even though they had made mistakes with their first kid, people were giving them grace, because it's like, oh, it's your first child, there's a learning curve. But when they came to the second one, everyone was like, something ain't right here. And I think the episode that made people realize that something wasn't right was, I don't remember, if I find out what episode it is, I'll put it below for you guys. But they were at a family event, and it was like a barbecue, and Amy she was overwhelmed and having a breakdown. Okay, overwhelmed and having a breakdown. She was trying to get the youngest baby that they just had, because I think at this time their child was probably, the oldest one was probably only 2 years old, and the baby maybe a couple of months old, but he's a baby. The other one's 2. They were acting like children, but the baby was crying and she couldn't soothe him or calm him down. The oldest one was just running around the party in the grass having a good old time, but everyone was like, he kept kind of getting in the way. So I think either one of Amanda's sons or one of the siblings' sons came and picked up the oldest one and like set him on his lap to play with like a dirt bike that they had lying around. And Amy is still freaking out, and Amanda comes and takes the youngest baby, and is like, girl, eat, calm down, you're around family, no one's judging you, because that was Amy's thing. She felt like everyone was judging her and could see that she wasn't being a good mom, but they were just like, girl, you're just overwhelmed, just eat and calm down. But then everyone's attention and frustration and anger went to Michael, because all the while while we see Amy freaking out and breaking down, Michael is just stuffing his face full of like seafood pasta, just sitting there just eating. And everyone's just like, why are you not helping her? Like, you see your wife crying and breaking down. Why are you not helping her with the kids? And so everyone just kind of started looking at Michael like, yeah, you the problem, sir. You're the problem. Season 5 is where we realize that Michael and Amy's relationship is toxic and they don't need to be together. They actually end up, I don't know if Michael filed for divorce or I think Amy filed for divorce. Either way, they're actually in the process of getting a divorce. Well, we see the episodes, like episode 2 and 3 is really where things like just come to a head. Amy is really struggling being a mom. She tells her sisters, all 3 of them, like, hey, I'm thinking about getting a nanny. And they're all looking at her like, why do you need a nanny when you have a full able-bodied adult, i.e. your husband? Like, why do you need a nanny, sis? And she was like, I need help. And they're still looking at her like, there's an adult that lives in this house with you. Why do you need help? like you have the help. So the girls are like, you know what? You just need to get away from these kids so you can clear your mind. But she ends up letting us know that like Michael really won't let her leave unless one of the kids is with her. So she always has to have a kid on her at every moment. And Michael follows her around like a puppy. Like she even said that like, I can't be away from him. Like he's always around. He always wants us to be together. And the sister's like, that's not healthy. Y'all need space. So then an argument ensues because they want to leave and go somewhere. And Michael is the one that has Amy's credit cards. And they're like, girl, why does he have your debit and your credit card, sis? And she's like, he's always had them and he won't let them go. Like he will not give it to her. So Amanda goes into big sister mode and she's like, you gonna give my sister her stuff. And Michael's like, no, I'm not. And then Amy gets amped up and she's like, Michael, give it to me. I just want to, like, I need space. I need space. So all 3 of them arguing back and forth. Misty goes invisible because one minute Misty was there, the next minute she wasn't. And then you see Tammy sitting at the table and she proceeds to call 911. So then we end up seeing 911 pull up to the scene to separate them. Michael drinking on something. Amy's out here crying beside the fence. Everyone's just like, what is going on? And then Amy decides to go stay with Tammy because Tammy has a new place of her own and stays and leaves Michael by himself. So then we get to I want to say episode 4 where we see them go to the courthouse, and now they're in the process of either getting a divorce or separating. And Michael said he wants 50-50 custody, and Amy is like, how dare he ask for 50-50 custody, because he don't do nothing. He don't know how they like their baths. He don't know what their favorite food is. He does nothing. And everyone's like, we understand, but the family's like, we got your back. So we end up finding out that Amy has been staying at Tammy's house, and Michael's not even staying at the house that they're at anymore. He actually went home to his mom. So I'm looking at the camera like, girl, why you still at Tammy's place? Why you not at your own house? Because the man you was with is no longer living there. He went back to his mama's house. But she says she doesn't want to go back there because it gives her memories. And I'm like, okay, it gives you memories. So Tammy is helping. She's holding the baby. But Tammy is also not even though she's lost weight, she's still working on her mobility. She can't get around as fast. And she should not be tasked with taking care of somebody else's kids, especially while she's trying to have her own recovery. So Amy's struggling. Everybody can tell that she's struggling. The family ends up going to Zumba classes at one of the local gyms, and they're all having a good time. They're cracking jokes. We find out, I think this is around the time we find out that Misty and Amanda end up having their surgeries or something like that. And so everyone's trying to get healthy and stay on the right track as a family. So they're having a good time at Zumba. Next thing you know, you see Amy outside of the Zumba class crying on the floor. like in the middle of the walkway, in the middle of traffic. And everyone's like, girl, what's wrong with you? So then she starts talking about how she's not feeling well and she's tired. And Tammy is like basically saying like she probably wouldn't be tired if she went to bed at a decent hour. So we start finding out that Amy's not going to bed till like maybe 12 o'clock in the morning, and neither are the boys. She also talks about how like Amy ain't really been taking care of herself. She not taking the medicine she needs to help. Because we also find out the girl been constipated for like 2 days. I said, can't people die from that? Like, what are we doing? So Amy is just letting herself go ever since her and Michael are no longer together. We then get this scene of like everyone in the parking lot trying to encourage Amy to like, you know, you got to do better for yourself. And she's getting mad that everyone's yelling at her, but nobody was really yelling at her. They were all telling her the right thing. Like, you have 2 kids. You're probably about to be the sole provider of them. Girl, you need to take better care of yourself. So she flips out, snatches off her mic and gives it to production and shuts the door. We get another scene of her crying when they go back to her house and she sees her wedding dress. And it was just like, girl, what? So they end up having like this another cookout. They need to stop having cookouts. That's when beef always be happening. They end up going to having a cookout. They're all talking about how excited they are to go to Florida. Like Tammy, because of her size, she was never able to ride long distances or even get on a plane to go to the beach. And so she's really excited to go to the beach. She wishes her husband could be there, but we know Caleb's still stuck at the rehab clinic. So she's excited. We found out that Misty and Tammy have never been on planes, but they're all as a family gonna ride on a plane together, except Amy. Now everyone was trying to encourage Amy to come because they're like, okay, girl, Kentucky to Florida. I googled and it said that it takes 12 hours to drive down to Kentucky, drive down from Kentucky to Florida. But I think in the video, or in not the video, but in the episode, they said it was like 9 hours. But either way, I need to know how much they paid Amanda's son to do that, because I wouldn't have did it. Because Amy is ill-equipped to take care of them kids, and I would not have wanted to be confined into a car full of 2 screaming kids. Because if you look at the kids, they didn't have anything. She didn't know how to work a DVD player. How do you not put the disc in the DVD player? She couldn't get the DVD player to work. The oldest one looks irritated that he got to sit in a car seat for that long, which is understandable. There was no toys, nothing for them to fidget with. It's like if me as an adult who doesn't like car rides like that are that long can lose interest and get bored and get irritated very quickly, I know a baby can. So I'm just like, Amy, what are you doing? On top of that, she wasn't even sitting back there with them. And in my family, if there's children in the car, there's always an adult, especially kids that age. There's always an adult sitting in between them or in the back to make sure everything's okay. Like they're not grabbing on the stuff. They're not putting stuff in their mouth. They ain't got no business. You know, keeping them preoccupied while the people in the front can drive us and get us to safety. She was doing none of that. She was on her phone, casually looking back, and they were getting irritated. And I'm like, of course, Amy, they're bored. They have nothing to do. They don't want to be stuck in this car for that long. So I just don't get why she didn't get on the plane. And the only thing I can think of why she didn't get on the plane is maybe she got worried that people were going to perceive her a certain way. Because if you can't take care or get your kids to calm down, like on land, I know it's going to be worse in the air. And we know some people get real irritated by screaming kids on a plane. I'm one of them, but I'm not the type of person to be nasty towards the parents that take care of them. That's why you always got to have noise canceling headphones or a movie or your headphones to like block it out. And I always make sure my stuff is charged, because I don't want to hear none of that on no plane ride. But I think that's the only reason she wouldn't have went, because I'm like, it would only have taken you 2 hours, because I googled that too, to get from Kentucky to Florida. And like everyone said, when they all finally got to Florida together, they were like, oh, it only took us 5 hours, like probably an hour to get to the airport if they live far away from the airport, then to go through TSA, and then to sit down and wait for their names to get called, or the ticket, what is it called? Your group to board the plane to get called, and then get on the plane for 2 hours and then land in Florida. Like, it was just kind of, I think the anxiety maybe for Amy and people staring at her and people questioning, and then the hassle of having the boys all at once would have been a lot. But I'm like, I would have taken that hour or so of inconvenience versus being stuck in a car with them for 9 hours and then wilding out for that long. So everyone finally gets to Florida. They all had a nice plane ride, and the Airbnb house is actually really nice too. So they get there. Amy and Amanda's son finally get there, and Amy is like, she's exhausted. But it's like, what are you exhausted by? You weren't driving. We find out that that boy drove those whole 9 hours while Amy just sat in the passenger seat. And then she, again, they reiterate she hasn't been taking care of herself, and she don't go to bed at a decent hour, because they were like, well, if you went to bed on time or had went to bed before like 11 o'clock, you would probably feel better, or like better about what's going on. Because she keeps saying she's exhausted, but all the while she's saying she's exhausted, you have her family members taking care of her kids. You got Tammy making sure the baby's okay, the youngest one's okay. Everyone else is chasing after the oldest. So it's like, you have help. And she keeps trying to say she doesn't have help, but every time Amy freaks out or has a breakdown or something, everyone either always grabs her kids and tell her, oh, we got you. So she getting on my nerves with that, because you can't say you don't have help, and you clearly have way more help than other people that are in your situation have. So they end up on one of the episodes going to dinner. They all are having a good time trying to eat. The Amy's two kids, they wilding out. They are wilding out at the little where the little seafood house, and they're outside. The moment the kids cry, Amy cries, and everyone's like, because that's their new normal. When the kids break down, Amy breaks down. And the thing about it is like, yes, kids are going to have those moments where they freak out in public and they cry and you feel embarrassed, and you work your hardest to get them to calm down. But it seems like every time they go out in public, her kids are freaking out. And I mean, I don't know. I know how we do it in my family, but my little cousins do not freak out. That were, a lot of them are older now, but when they were babies, they did not freak out that badly. Like, I can count on my hand how many times they freaked out when we were in public and even in church, but not the amount of times we've seen Amy and her kids have meltdowns. So it's like something is happening where like we need structure. That's the issue. Kids need structure. They can't just be roaming free sometimes. You got to lock them in sometimes. So Amy's breaking down at the end of the table because the youngest one is crying. Misty is trying to calm down the youngest one. Chris's wife is also trying to calm down one of the babies. I don't know if it was the oldest one or the youngest one, but I think it was the youngest one. She's holding him, trying to rock him to sleep, or trying to calm him down. Then you have Amanda picking up one of I think the oldest one, and taking him outside to calm him down. And she's frustrated because she got on a new outfit, she got on a new bra set and everything, and she was ready to have a good time with her family. But Amy is freaking out, and they can't get the little boy to calm down. And like Amanda said, like, you have to be your kid's rock at this point. Like, we get it, you struggling, but like, you can't cry when they cry. You, after you calm them down, then you cry. So Amanda's like, man, girl, I'm going home. So she decides to take the kids back to the Airbnb. Amanda freaks out. She's like, I'm going back to Kentucky. I said, what? Why is that the response, to go back to Kentucky? So they're like, no, Amy, just calm down. We got this. We'll just take them back home. So they get back home, and everyone is just like, we need to figure out how to get Amy some help. Because at this point, we can't keep doing this every time we get together. We just cannot. The last day, and this is when the fight pop off, and why we like I said, why I made this video. So it's the last day. They decided to have like a seafood boil, and y'all know if you like to have seafood boils, I love me a good seafood boil, but I like crawfish. So they decided to have a seafood boil, and Chris is cooking and making other food, and so Amy is kind of getting on everybody's nerves because they're telling her what, like, and she's getting irritated with everybody because they keep telling her what to do. So she picks up the oldest one, and like, she was trying to go feed him at the table, in the den area. Now, y'all know, if you've been to a good seafood boil where they lay the crabs and the crawfish and the shrimp and the sausage and the the potatoes and the eggs and the corn on the table, and they put actual seasoning, because I don't know, that food did not look seasoned well. I'm sorry, Chris. But if they put actual like sauce on it, it is very like messy. That's why you always see people with bibs and the gloves on. And they were like, Amy, bring him back to this table. Cause like, don't nobody want to mess up no furniture and then they got to pay a deposit at the Airbnb. Y'all know Airbnbs be scamming people out of like deductions and all of that stuff. And so she's irritated, but they're like, it's whatever. She then burps in the baby's face. I don't think she did it on purpose, but I think it's just added to the issues. Like, they're already irritated with her, and now you gonna do that. And I was just like, yeah, girl. And I was like, I'd have been irritated with you too. Why are you like, girl, turn your head. You know when a burp is coming. So the oldest one is fine. She then decides, okay, I'm going to put down the baby. I think that's the one that's named Glenn. She was struggling to put the baby down. So Tammy goes over there to help her because she's sitting in the den area trying to put him to sleep. And Tammy's like, okay, well, what's the checklist? Like, have you run through your checklist? Like, is he cold? Did he, like cold as in like he peed on himself or, went on himself? Like, is he hungry? I think you already fed him. Like, we've seen Tammy be naggy. We've seen Tammy be bitchy. But in this moment, I genuinely think she was just trying to help. Like, she legit was like in a calm voice trying to run down, like, is he this, and this to like help her sister think through it because the baby was really irritable at that point. So then she gets mad at Tammy. Tammy is like, girl, okay, whatever, and walks away. And then all of a sudden she's like, I'm leaving. And everyone's like, you're not leaving. Why would you leave? Like, we got 12 hours before we leave. And she was like, I'm leaving. And then they're like, girl, calm down. So then she walks out on the porch and she's like, y'all promised to help me. And everyone's like, we have been helping. And they have. And they're looking at her like, what are you talking? She's like, no, y'all haven't. They were like, yes, we have. We have been helping you, Amy. What are you talking about? She's like, I'm going back to Kentucky. And everyone's like, no. Amanda's like, you're not about to make my son drive you 9 hours back to Kentucky when we're all about to leave in 12 hours. You need to get rest. He needs to get rest because he's going to be doing all the driving. You're not going to put my child in danger, sis. You're just not going to do it. So she goes back to her room to get her stuff. She grabbing her suitcases, and everyone keeps telling her, Amy, you're not leaving with your kids. Like, and so she was like, I'm gonna go get Michael. I'm gonna call Michael. And Chris said, girl, why would you call Michael to drive 9 hours to come and get you? By the time he get down here to come get you, it's gonna be time for us to leave. So that doesn't make sense. So she gets really angry, and so then Amanda goes into big sister mode and steps in and gets into the middle of the hallway to be like, girl, you're not leaving. So then Amy's like, move, Amanda, and they get to going back and forth, and then Amy shoves Amanda. Girl, they get to shoving each other back, and Amy knew she was wrong, and we know Amy can't fight because the moment she shoved Amanda, she turned her head like this. And I said, in any fight that you've ever been in, you got to look people in their eyes, girl. So they're shoving back and forth, and Amanda is like, do y'all see this? So then Chris, Amanda's son, and Misty run over there. Misty's like, oh my gosh. Chris is like, no. And they tell Amanda to leave. Tammy goes to her room because she's like, I can't do this. She telling everyone to shut the F up because they're all yelling. Misty is telling, what's her name? Amy to get back in her room. Amy's like, I'm sick of y'all telling me what to do. And everyone's like, what is wrong with you? And so they get Amanda goes and walks back out on the porch. And Amy's like, you always doing this, and this. And Amanda's like, girl, get away from me before I knock you out. Like, get away from me. And everyone's like, yeah, Amy, get away. Because they all know Amanda will probably dog walk Amy. So they're like, get away from her. Chris is like, you're tripping. Then she yells at Chris and tells Chris he's not helping. Chris gets pissed off because he's like, you know that's BS because we are helping you. So they all leave because I think they want to all put hands on Amy at this point because they tired of her energy and her attitude. So they're all outside. It's like all of a sudden Amy has a point of clarity. Her mind is clear and she realizes how badly she messed up. So she goes out onto the porch in front of the house, I guess where production is, because on the screen you can see her speaking to production and she's like saying, I'm sorry, that's not me. I gotta find Amanda. Where's Amanda? Chris is like, I don't know. Like, he got the energy like, girl, get away from me. And everyone's just like irritated and tired of Amy at this point. But Amy's like, I gotta find Amanda. Amanda. Tammy is actually kind of surprised that her sister is feeling this remorseful this quickly. So Amanda's sitting out on the steps, no, not on steps, on the porch, just like dumbfounded at the fact that she just Amy just put hands on her, and that Amanda didn't punch her in the mouth. And she tried to apologize to her, and Amanda's like, Amy, get away from me. Get away. And she's like, I'm sorry. She's like, get away. And I'm like, girl, get away from your sister before she smack you. Get away from her. And so she's breaking down in the kitchen. She was like, this is not me. And it's like, girl, you sure about that? How the episode ended, everybody is like confused and taken aback by Amy. Like, they're all just like, we've never seen her get this bad. And it seems like the consensus online is that everyone thinks that Amy is dealing with postpartum. And that could be the case. But just because you have postpartum does not mean that you are allowed to treat your family any type of way. Like, Amanda had every right to punch Amy in the face, because that her behavior makes no sense. To sit there and tell them that like they haven't been helping, when anytime Amy has a breakdown, they rush in to take them kids from her. They all go out their way to calm the baby down and check up on her and tell her it's okay. And it just doesn't make sense. And I feel like y'all, like, some people just want to give Amy a pass because they have experienced postpartum. And I can get connecting with somebody, but there is no way you're gonna get me to understand that you had postpartum and think it's okay for you to put your hands on somebody. Because honestly, like I said, if Amanda wanted to, she could have punched that girl in the face, and I'd have been like, it is what it is. And then I saw a comment where someone was like, oh, Amy had every right to push Amanda because she was standing in the doorway and she told her to move. Even if Amy told Amanda to move, Amanda was well within her right to be like, my child's not driving you back to Florida when we're all leaving in 12 hours. I feel like y'all are forgetting that the person that's driving Amy and them kids is Amanda's son, and Amy is not helping him drive. A 9-hour drive is a long drive for some people, if not all of us, but it's just kind of like, you want him to drive you back 9 hours when y'all were gonna leave in 12 hours, and then to scream out she's gonna call Michael to come and get you. Girl, what? The man you're getting a divorce from, the man that you said did nothing for you and you need space from? Amy's not making sense, y'all. And I get that some people feel like that's what she has is postpartum, but it's like, okay, she has postpartum. It explains why she's been acting this way if she does have it, but it's not an excuse or a pass for her behavior. It just, in my eyes, it's not. And I feel as though her family did the right thing by not allowing her to leave, because Amy was being erratic. I'm not allowing nobody that's being erratic, who is ill-equipped to take care of their own kids, take 2 babies in a car and drive off somewhere. Like, that could have, like, ungodly consequences, if you know what I mean. Like, Amy was doing too much, and her family had every right to tell her, like, no, that's not happening. Like, you're not leaving. Chill out. Go and lay down. Like, no, they were not. But I respect them more for being like, yeah, no, girl, you're not leaving this house. Because that made no sense to me. That people were like, yeah, Amanda should have moved. Girl, no. Amanda told her, right, go back in there and lay down, and my son not taking you nowhere, girl. But honestly, if you want to know my thoughts, what I really think, I think Amy is dealing with codependency issues, because it doesn't make sense why she's spiraling and having so many meltdowns this badly, when it's like, Michael didn't help you with the first one. He didn't help you with the second one. And the only thing that has changed in Amy's reality is that she's getting a divorce. Nothing else has changed. She still doesn't have his help, because he wasn't helping her in the beginning. So why are you acting in this manner? Like, that's the part and I think that's why I don't give the whole, like, giving her a pass because people think she may have postpartum, because it's like, nothing in your reality has truly changed other than you're planning on getting a divorce. Michael is living at home with his mom, so you could definitely go back to your house with your kids and be there by yourself if you want to. He wasn't helping you with the kids. You said that out your own mouth, that he didn't know how to bathe them. He didn't know how to feed them. He didn't do all these things. So it's like you've been doing all this stuff by yourself to now he's not there anymore and you're freaking out like this. That is giving me like codependency. Like he wasn't helping, but you just like the fact that he was there. That he was like his presence were there, or you got so used to him being there. Because the fact that she said she was gonna call Michael to come get her, I was like, really? The man you said ain't about nothing, ain't gonna be nothing? Okay. I don't know. I wonder how they're gonna rectify this situation. Like, I don't know. I genuinely don't know. I don't know. Because if I was Amanda, I don't know if I would accept Amy's apology as quickly as I think she is going to accept it. Because Amanda has been very understanding. And yeah, Amanda is bossy. But it's like, which older sister isn't, like, what older sister isn't bossy? And it's not like she's not being bossy in the sense of, like, doing it in the wrong way. She's telling Amy to put her big girl panties on and move on with life the same way she had to, because we find out that Amanda has also been through a divorce and been a single parent. So it's like, if I can do it, you can do it too, you know what I mean? But yeah, it's just, I wouldn't accept it. Maybe because I be sometimes holding on to grudges. And I got to work on that. But I don't know if I would accept. I don't know if because girl, I'd have been pissed that I ain't punch her in the face if I was Amanda. But, yeah, I'm just wondering how they going to change it. I hope they tell her to go to therapy. Because at this point, girl, you lost too many, like the amount of grace if I was her family, the amount of grace that they've been giving her, it would almost be gone. Because you doing a lot. You are doing a lot. But yeah, y'all, that is it. That is all. Remember to be bravely authentic. Definitely hop down in the comments below and give me your thoughts. Be respectful, but give me your thoughts about what do you think is going on with Amy. Do you think Amy was in her right to, shove Amanda? Do you think Amanda was in the right? Just give me your thoughts. And as always, I'm out, y'all. Deuces.